All right, welcome to the lesson. We're actually going to get started in just a few minutes. Actually, we need to do this. So give me a moment. I actually have to call one of the students or two of the students that are supposed to be in the lesson with us. And so I'm going to, yeah. So just give me a moment.
Your screen is sharing.
Yeah, I know. I have to call these students and they have to be on speaker. They have a, yeah. Better?
Hello, we are not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep. We will return the call.
Hi, this is Mrs. Kilpatrick. Just trying to reach you for the live lesson. We are going to get started a little bit earlier than planned. Hello, this is Mrs. Kilpatrick. Hi, is this Aspen and Brea? Hi. Yeah, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Okay, we're going to go ahead and start our lesson. I got back earlier. I originally thought I was going to start at 12:15 and because I had to pick up my daughter from early release, but I'm back. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on speaker. Hopefully you can hear me. And please log in on Zoom. All right, guys, we're going to wait about 5 minutes to get started today because I started things a little bit later. I had to pick up my daughter from school at 11:30 and at Lakeland High School, and it's pretty crazy over there. So I didn't know that if I would be back by 12. So I did make it, but we're just going to wait till 5 after before we actually start the lesson today. We have a lot of good information. Scott, Addison, and Israel, could you put your cameras on? Because that's what Polk Virtual would like you to do when you're in a live lesson. That way I know that you're there too. Okay, Israel, I see you. Thank you. Scott and Addison, please turn on your cameras. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And we have at least 2 more students that should be logging in soon. But Brea and Aspen, you want to go ahead and log into Zoom? We're going to start at 12:05, giving you a few minutes to log in. Okay. You guys enjoying your Friday? Y'all get your testing done? with the state testing. All right, 3 more minutes. Goodness, you guys are so different from the beginning class. The beginning class, they like to talk, talk, talk. You guys are just very quiet, very shy. I do want to say that the chat box that we have, the chat, when you have questions to answer, you can type in the chat, but only I will see your answers. So don't worry about being embarrassed. Okay, and then we'll discuss answers and all that for the questions. We've got about 2 more minutes and then we'll get started officially on this. Aspen and Brea, are you going to log into Zoom? One more minute. You can't stay for the whole lesson then, Israel?
No, I can if I get back early enough, I could still be in here.
Okay, well, we'll see what we can do here, okay? Let me just take a picture of those of you that are here. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Well, no, we've got about 30 seconds. Scott, again, put your camera back on so I can see your wonderful face. All right, it's now, there we go. Oh, you're walking through the house. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. Now, this is a lot of lessons, but lesson 2.00 is very short. We're going to review a little bit. Remember last week, we learned about nationalities, saying where you're from, like soy de los Estados Unidos, and then your nationality, soy estadounidense. Remember, the country is capitalized, but the nationality is not. We learned about introducing yourself for particular for the 109 voice activity. It's giving the occupation of your parent, giving your parent's nationality, and telling you what your parent does for his or her job. So that's what we had to do for 109. And then most of you have taken the module 1 exam, which is where you need to have gotten to last week. But when you get to the end of module 1, always keep your notes because you know you'll use them again, just like you did last year for your beginning class. Okay, so lesson 2.00 is kind of like in some ways it's a review, and we're identifying information about Spanish-speaking countries, just 3 of them. So we've got Cuba, the capital is La Habana. Oops. Cubana is the nationality. Their money is el peso cubano. It says here that Cuba is the largest island in the Caribbean, and its shape resembles un cocodrilo, a crocodile. Yeah. Can't think in English. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry if I get like this. We could say it's chemo brain, I forget little things. Try not to forget the big things. Okay, so before the arrival of Christopher Columbus and Spanish explorers in 1492, Cuba was home to several indigenous groups, such as the Guanta, I'm gonna try to do this, Guanta Jatabe people, and the Siboney and Taino tribes. I've heard of the Tainos, but not the other ones. There are several popular sports and activities in Cuba, like baseball and dominoes. You guys, have you ever been to Miami? Down to downtown Miami at all? There's a park in Miami where they have these domino tournaments. It's a big deal. And most of the people who are big into that are the Cuban immigrants. Puerto Rico is another country we're learning about, and San Juan is the capital. The nationality is Puerto Riqueño or Puerto Riqueña. They use the same money that we use in the United States, so el dólar. And it is a commonwealth. It's not its own country. I mean, it is a country, but it's a commonwealth of the United States. So Puerto Ricans are US citizens. They're living on the island, but they're not permitted to vote in the United States. So they get some benefits, but not all. And while they live in Puerto Rico, they can't vote. If they move to the United States, they can vote. So English and Spanish are both their official languages. They've got about 3 million people who live there. And although it's a US territory, it competes separately from the United States in the Olympics. So in 2016, there was a tennis player who won the gold medal for Puerto Rico. La República Dominicana is right by Cuba and Puerto Rico, kind of in the middle there. And it is that the nationality is Dominicano or Dominicana. And their money is El Peso Dominicano. MD, you're going to need to tell me in the chat box what your full name is so I can give you credit for being here today. All right, La Isla de Hispaniola. Okay, so the Dominican Republic shares that island with Haiti. Now, you know, in Haiti, they speak French, but it's kind of a Creole French, but in the Dominican Republic, Spanish. So this was the first European settlement in 1492. You know, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It was Columbus, you know, and he's the one who did that. Santo Domingo is the capital of the Dominican Republic and the oldest city in the Americas. So, you know, in Florida, we've got St. Augustine is the oldest city in Florida and maybe the US. But Santo Domingo is the oldest city in all of the Americas. Okay, and that's because of Christopher Columbus. All right, and of course, baseball is a big deal there too. All right, so that's all that was in 2.00. 2.01, we're talking about the likes and dislikes for self and others using the verb gustar and encantar. So we're gonna do, you know, gustar, you know, encantar, but we're gonna do more with those, okay? We're going to talk about pastimes and activities, understand the descriptions of those same activities, participate in conversations about them, and also we're going to recognize musical and dance contributions from Spanish-speaking countries and how those impact the global society. These are the state standards. I'm not going to read them to you. I just need to show them to you. Oops, okay. Okay, these are some different pastimes that people have, okay? We've got here, it says, la chica joven le gusta hacer surf en Puerto Rico. Okay, that looks a little rocky for surfing, if you ask me. But anyway, notice down here at the bottom it says le gusta hacer surf. So hacer surf is to go surfing. Well, we use gusta before the infinitive hacer. So remember that. All right, this one here. A mi abuela le gusta tocar la trompeta en las calles de La Habana, Cuba. So my grandfather likes to play the trumpet in the streets of Havana, Cuba. Now, tocar is what we use for playing instruments. What do we use when we want to play a game? You guys remember what verb that is? You can unmute, just a few of us here. MD, what's your name? You need to type that in the chat box so I can give you full credit for being here today, okay?
I need to do what? What do I need to type in the chat box?
You need to type your name in the chat box so I can see your first and last name. Like the hair. Okay. So, jugar is our verb to play games. Tocar is instruments. A mi prima le encanta hacer yoga en un parque en la República Dominicana. So my cousin likes to, well, remember, encantar is to love, not romantic love. You know, like I like pizza, but I love lasagna. That's what, there's differences there. Okay, but it's used the same way as gustar. Encanta is used before an infinitive. Encantan would be used before a plural item. Okay. A mis tíos les gusta boxear en Cuba. Notice we have lace instead of lay here because we're talking about more than one uncle. They like to box in Cuba. All right, some words here. El pasatiempo. Take a note. Las actividades divertidas que hago cuando no trabajo ni estudio son mis pasatiempos. So the activities that are fun that I do when I don't work or study are my pastimes. Jugar a los videojuegos, to play video games. A mi hermano y a mí nos gusta mucho jugar a los videojuegos. So my brother and I like to play video games a lot. Notice that a lot is mucho, and we put mucho after nos gusta between gusta and jugar. Nos gusta mucho jugar. Pasar el rato solo, to spend time alone. Me gusta estar solo con mis amigos, pero también me gusta pasar el rato solo. I like to spend time with my friends, but I like to spend time alone. Also. All right, navegar por internet, surf the internet. Notice the internet didn't get changed into Spanish. It's still internet, but it's navegar por internet, surf the net. Me encanta escuchar música cuando navego, cuando navego por internet. I love to listen to music when I surf the internet. Hacer yoga, do yoga. Mi hermana hace yoga en su casa con su gato. My sister does yoga in her house with her cat. That would be different. Okay, now here are, this is kind of a review that gets thrown into these lessons. We're reviewing irregular yo forms. Okay, remember these irregular yo forms end in GO. So we've got salir becomes salgo, I leave. Poner becomes pongo, I put or I set. And traer becomes traigo, I bring. Do these look familiar to you guys? You remember them?
I do.
Okay. All right, so now I really need all of you to participate in the chat box here or unmute, whichever feels more comfortable to you. So we're going to go over these little practices, okay? It says, soy una mujer activa, pero también me gusta pasar el rato sola. ¿Cuál es mi pasatiempo favorito? Okay, so we've got leer libros, navegar por internet, jugar a los videojuegos, hacer yoga. You got to look at the picture to know what is her favorite pastime. You could put 1, 2, 3, or 4. Hacer yoga, that's right now. Okay. Here's another one. Me gusta jugar con mis amigos y también sola. ¿Cuál es mi pasatiempo favorito? Jugar a los videojuegos, hacer yoga, navegar por internet, jugar a los deportes. All right, Israel and Melody put jugar a los videojuegos. Like this, you can see right there, they're getting into it. They're playing video games. Here's the next one. Me encanta investigar información, ver videos y no tener que salir de mi casa. ¿Cuál es mi pasatiempo favorito? Jugar a los videojuegos, escribir historias, hacer yoga, Navegar por internet. It's, no, he's right, it's 4. She likes to surf the internet. And the reason it's not 2 is because escribir historias, to write stories. Well, we haven't talked about that, but it could be that that hasn't been presented in the vocab. All right, let's look a little bit here. Okay, so navegar por internet is used commonly, but also people sometimes say navegar por la red. Okay, and that's another way to say surf the internet. So you need to know that. Navegar por la red. Oops. All right. Now, as you know, in all these lessons, we get a little bit of, culture. Okay, so this is the story of Caridad, who lived in La Habana, Cuba. And she says, me gusta estar con mis amigas, pero mi pasatiempo favorito es navegar por internet. I'm going to look here down at pictures. And of course, all of this is going to be translated on your lesson that you would go to with this little globe. She says, aquí estoy en la blusa anaranjada con mis 2 amigas. Here I am in my orange blouse, my 2 friends. Mis tíos usan el internet de un hotel. So have you guys ever seen anybody do this, where they're stealing Wi-Fi from some place, like a restaurant or whatever? Okay. There's another one. Muchos jóvenes y adultos navegan por internet en la calle. So many people surf the internet in the street, and that may be because they've got a Wi-Fi spot. Mis amigos y yo vamos al centro de internet gratis de la pista Excel. Okay, so they have found a free Wi-Fi hotspot. Okay, so just a little bit to know about how they do things in Cuba. All right, some more vocab. Hacer ejercicio, to do exercise. Hacer ejercicio es hacer actividades activas o deportivas. Hacer gimnasia. A mi hermana Raquel le encanta hacer gimnasia. She loves to do gymnastics. Hacer surf, to surf. Nos encanta hacer surf en Puerto Rico en las vacaciones. Nadar, to swim. Look, they've got a dog swimming. A mi perro Buddy le encanta nadar en el agua. He loves to swim in the water. I will mention, oops, that again. Come on. El agua is a masculine word, or agua is masculine. So just in case you wanted to say la agua, it's el agua. Correr. Mi papá, it's Mr. Brown, mi papá corre por las mañanas, los sábados y los domingos. Patinar, to skate. Now, this guy he's using a skateboard, okay? But it usually means like roller skates. Mi hermano es introvertido y activo y por eso le gusta patinar. He likes to skate. All right, we're reviewing using gustar. Okay, remember that before we use gusta or gustan, we have to put in an indirect object pronoun. So we've got me refers to me. Te refers to you, singular. Le refers to he, she, it, or you formal, like usted. All of us is nos. Os is you plural informal, which is usually in Spain. And then les is they, like ellos or ellas, or ustedes. Okay. So me, te, le, nos, os, or les comes before gusta or gustan. It would also come before encanta or encanta. Gotta have that indirect object pronoun to know who does the liking. We have some cognates here. Practicar, to practice. Las artes marciales, martial arts. And borrowed words like el karate. Karate is not a Spanish word. It is, I believe karate comes from, I want to say China. not great on the martial arts. If you guys know better than that than me, please let me know. Okay. In Taekwondo, it's also a borrowed word. That's not a Spanish word. Boxear, to box. Boxing is an English word. Boxear is kind of the Anglishized English word. Okay. All right, let's look here at a few other things. So boxear is used in Latin America. That would be Central America and South America. It's called Latin America. Okay, but internationally, it might be hacer boxeo or practicar el boxeo. Okay. Hacer surf is surfing. It's used internationally, but some people might say practicar surf, to practice surfing, or surfear in Latin America. Central and South America is Latin America, or surfing. And that sometimes is also used in Latin America, but surfing is definitely surf, but anything having surf in it is borrowed from English. They've just made it more Spanish. Okay, so now we're going to learn about Cabarete, Dominican Republic. Remember, the Dominican Republic is right here on the right-hand side of Hispaniola, and then the left-hand side is Haiti. Good information to know that if you ever go traveling or just, your geography class. Okay, so we've got several activities, and some of these are activities that people have done. This one here, they're doing yoga on the mats in the water. I think that would be a very disastrous activity. Okay, so this is Saludos desde Cabarete, and we're learning about Valeria. And she says, mi pasatiempo favorito es el surfing. Soy puertorriqueña y me encanta nadar. So she's Puerto Rican, she loves to swim. Me gustan mucho los deportes extremos, pero también me gusta hacer gimnasia y hacer yoga. Por eso estoy en la República Dominicana en una escuela de surf. So she's Puerto Rican, but she's in the Dominican Republic for a surfing school. I didn't know they had surfing schools. Did you? Por las mañanas corremos en el agua y después desayunamos. So in the morning they go surfing and then they eat breakfast. Por la tarde practicamos surf y en las noches hacemos ejercicios y bailamos los bailes latinos que también es ejercicio. So they surf in the afternoon, they do more exercise at night, and then they dance. They have fun. Por la tarde, let's get back, sorry. Cabarete es hermoso y una combinación perfecta de diversión y ejercicio. So it's a good combination of fun and exercise. If you haven't had your camera on yet, at least for a few minutes, please make sure you turn it on so I can see your face and everybody good on that. Okay, hold on. All right, let's go back. All right, so now we're learning about this boy who lives in Miami, Florida, and they spelled it Miami instead of Miami. Okay. So this is Elian. He says, soy cubano, pero vivo en Miami, Florida. So he's Cuban, he lives in Florida. En Miami, practico los artes marciales y boxeo con mis amigos. So he likes martial arts and boxing. También quiero aprender a hacer surf. Estoy en surf camp en Puerto Plata de la República Dominicana. So he's also doing the surf camp. Él es mucho trabajo, pero muy diversión. Por la mañana tengo una clase de artes marciales mixtas, donde practicamos karate, taekwondo, judo, y hasta un poco de yoga. So he likes the mixed martial arts. Some of you may do those yourselves. Después almorzamos y al agua para aprender y practicar surf. So he's got so many activities there. Okay. All right. And now we're going to get into some more vocab. Sure. Okay. Hacer la tarea, to do homework. something you guys are good at, right? Me gusta hacer la tarea para la clase de arte porque me encanta dibujar. I like to do homework for art class because I love to draw. Pintar, to paint. Mi pasatiempo favorito es pintar. My favorite pastime is painting. Tomar fotos, to take photos. Notice that in Spanish we have an F for the same, it's the same word, photos, pictures, but they're, basically it's more phonic if you're using the F than the PH. You think about it. Tomo fotos de mis amigos y de la naturaleza después de la escuela. I take pictures of my friends and that and the beauty basically después de la escuela, after school. Tocar un instrumento, to play an instrument. Mi hermano y sus amigas tocan unos instrumentos como la trompeta y el saxofón. So my brother and his friends, they play instruments like the trumpet and the saxophone. All right. Now the comparison between tocar and jugar. Remember, tocar is to play an instrument. The jugar is to play a sport or a game. And I know that you guys know this stuff already, but this is just kind of review. Okay. All right. And now we're going to review conjugating regular verbs. You guys know this, but maybe you forgot a little over the summer. So remember that these are the endings for our verbs: AR verbs, ER verbs, IR verbs. There's very similar endings, but we have to take off the AR verb ending, add O for yo, as for tú, a for él, ella, or usted, amos for nosotros, ais for vosotros, and an for ellos, ellas for ustedes. ER verbs are very similar to IR verbs. So for both of them, all three end with O for yo, right? But for the ER and IR verbs, they end with S, ES instead of AS, or two. For both of them, they end with A for LA usted. And then here's where they differ. For nosotros, ER verbs end with amos, IR verbs end with emos. For vosotros, ER verbs end with ace, and IR verbs end with is. And then they both end with N for ellos, ellas, or ustedes. Do you guys want to do a screenshot of this? Just to have it handy for yourselves? You know how to do a screenshot? It's like control print screen. Or phone, yes. And that works too. Okay, all good? It looks like we lost a few people here. Lost and gained. All right, time to practice. All right, so you need to use the pictures for reference, okay? And you're gonna pick the phrase that works best with this picture. Mis tíos tocan instrumentos. Mi tío toca el violín. Yo escucho la música cubana, or ellos toman fotos. Should this be 1, 2, 3, or 4? That's right, Melody. Very good. All right. Now looking at the girl, and let's see, she's with someone who's taking pictures. It says, mi prima baila y yo canto. Mi primo toma fotos en la escuela. Yo tomo fotos de mi sobrina cuando ella baila. Mi hermana y yo bailamos en el jardín. Which one works best here? Only one will work. One, two, three, or 4. That's right, 3. Yo tomo fotos de mi sobrina cuando ella baila. I take pictures of my niece when she dances. Okay, here's another one. El abuelo pinta con sus nietos. Las niñas cantan. Las niñas dibujan. El abuelo escribe poemas. All right, which one's going to work here? One, right. The grandfather's painting with his grandchildren. All right, here's another one. Yo hago la tarea con mi papá. Yo hago el almuerzo. Mi papá hace el almuerzo con nosotros. Or yo hago la tarde. Which one is this? Well, what's almuerzo? That's lunch. I don't see any lunch on the table. Yes, Sophia, it's one. Yo hago la tarea con mi papá. I do homework with my father. All right, here we've got some cognates. La guitarra, just like guitar. La trompeta, trumpet. Las maracas, are maracas, which is actually a Spanish word. El piano, the piano. El saxophone, the saxophone. El violin, the violin. Los bongos are bongos, which is a type of drum, you know. Drum. Okay. You guys ever watched I Love Lucy? The old I Love Lucy reruns? Remember Desi Arnaz, her husband, used to play the bongos?
I remember that show. I've heard of it, but I've never actually watched it. I don't know what to watch it on.
I don't know either, to tell you the truth. I don't know if it's on Netflix or Hulu or where
I don't know either.
anymore. Maybe on YouTube. You can look up I Love Lucy. I bet you there's some videos there.
Oh, of course. YouTube has everything.
Yeah. All right. Tomar fotos is used in Latin America to take pictures. Sacar fotos is also used in Latin America. And hacer fotos is used in Spain. All right, now we're going to learn a little bit about dance. And I will say this, you see where we've got the little player here. Okay, well, obviously the player's not going to work because I put this on a PowerPoint. So I encourage you to take a few moments to go back to this part of lesson 201 to listen to what the music sounds like. So we've got La Salsa. Okay, so and this is very fast-paced music. You can see how they position their bodies. That's just one way they might do that. Okay, but it uses a lot of instruments, sounds, rhythms from the Caribbean. It's originally from Cuba, but it's also very important to Puerto Ricans. And let's see, I'm just going to translate here. So the instruments, they use bongos, trompetas, el saxophone, and las maracas. So they use all those instruments. And salsa dancing is a partnered dance. That means that two people, a man and a woman, will dance together. All right. La bachata. La bachata originated in the Dominican Republic. And it's more romantic and poetic with a lot of singing and some African elements as well. The instruments are la guitarra, the guitar, bongos, maracas. It consists of 3 steps with a Cuban hip motion, followed by a tap, including a hip movement on the 4th beat, which of course you can't really see that from the picture. The knees have to be slightly bent so the performer can sway the hips easier. The movement of the hips is very important because it's part of the soul of the dance. All right, so most of the dancers' movements are going to be in the lower body up to the hips, and then the upper body really doesn't, we don't have a lot of this going on, you know. All right, oops. All right, next dance. El reggaeton. I bet you guys have heard of it, reggaeton, right? That seems to be very popular. Okay. This is a mixture of Jamaican and Latino beats, and it's said to have originated in Panama but they have a large Jamaican population there as well. So that's because they were working on the Panama Canal. Let's see. And so there's a lot of people aren't sure if it originated in Panama or Puerto Rico, but a lot of the first songs came from Panama. Okay, and the reggaeton came from Puerto Rico, so they mixed it up, basically. And it's mostly synthesized. You can see they're using a synthesizer there, but they also have guitar and bongos and string instruments. Okay, and a lot of hit music, hit movements similar to hip hop. La merengue is another fun dance. Now you look at their costumes that they're wearing for la merengue. That's more of the traditional stuff, but you know, you don't have to wear a costume to dance it. So it's from the Dominican Republic, and a lot of it's heard in the Caribbean and Latin America, and it's popular here in the United States as well. Very festive, and they use bongos, trompetas, el acordeon, and another instrument called a hiro, which has like a raspy sound. Okay, so there's two popular versions of the original dance. One is that the slaves who were chained together in the sugar fields of the Dominican Republic and of necessity were forced to drag one leg as they cut sugar to the beat of the drums. So, you know, they actually had a drum beating for them to do things, you know, cut what they were doing, cut the stuff, the sugar cane. So that's one thing. Second story is that a great hero was wounded in the leg during one of the Revolutionary Wars, and to welcome him home, they had a celebration where everyone dancing felt obliged to limp and drag one foot. I actually think the first story is probably more accurate, but you know, so now you know there's two different stories. Okay, so as you see, it's kind of start with the right foot, then on the left, and basically you take a step whatever you. Oops. All right. And that is the end of the dancing part, which you're going to want to go back and listen to that music. I do like to see you guys on camera with me. That way I know you're there. It helps. All right. So for 201, there's a quiz. And I really recommend that you go back and listen to the music. Also take good notes about the different instruments that are used in each of those dances, because I bet you they're going to have questions on the quiz about that. Okay. All right, lesson 202. Not doing too bad on time, it's doing okay. So we're describing activities that people do after school or on the weekend, more about pastimes. Let's see. Recognize different sports and athletic contributions from Spanish-speaking countries, and identify and apply the usage and conjugation rules for O to UE and U to UE stem changing verbs. Remember stem changing verbs? Fun stuff. And we're going to get into it today. Okay. All right. Oops. Okay. Remember when I said patinar means to skate, but you know, the person was on a skateboard, right? Well, if you were to skate on ice, they call that patinar sobre hielo, to skate over ice. Okay. We have some other words here in bold. Puedes dormir, you can sleep. Tienes hambre, you're hungry. Puedes almorzar, you can eat lunch. Jugar los juegos de mesa, to play board games. All right, and we have some words here. Poder means to be able to do something or can. Yo puedo practicar deportes. Dormir, to sleep. Te gusta dormir. Jugar a los juegos de mesa, to play board games. Puedo jugar a los juegos de mesa después de la escuela. I can play board games after school. To eat lunch is almorzar. Tú vas a tu casa a almorzar los lunes, miércoles y viernes. You go to eat lunch at your house on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Patinar sobre hielo, I told you ice skating. Me encanta patinar sobre hielo. I love to ice skate. I used to love to ice skate till I got to be old. Now I'm afraid I'll break a hip. So I don't go ice skating. I'll watch the younger kids do it. All right, let's see here. Okay, so now look at the picture, and in the chat box, we're going to do the 1, 2, 3, or 4. You're going to tell me which word or phrase goes best with this picture. Is it almorzar, dormir, patinar sobre hielo or jugar los juegos de mesa. Right, 2, dormir. Right? Here's another one. Dormir, do we use dormir, patinar sobre hielo, almorzar, or jugar los juegos de mesa? Right. They're playing board games. 4. What about this one? Patinar sobre hielo, jugar los juegos de mesa, dormir, almorzar, or almorzar, to eat lunch. What about this one? 1, 2, 3, it's 1. Patinar sobre hielo, ice skate. Have any of you ever ice skated on a frozen lake like that? I've ice skated in ice skate rinks where they make the ice. I think I'd be scared to death to do it on a lake just because I hear too many stories of people falling through. All right. Okay. Hola chicos, mi nombre es Anita y soy cubana, pero vivo en Miami, Florida. Miami tiene influencia de muchos países hispanohablantes. En Miami puedes ver mucha cultura dominicana, puertorriqueña, costarricense y especialmente la cubana. So lots of cultures that are in Miami, right? Mi pasatiempo favorito de los fines de semana es tomar el café cubano y jugar al dominó con mi abuelo Braulio. El dominó se juega en todo el mundo y es muy popular en los países en el Caribe. Sorry about that. Okay. But here on the bottom, well, both of these pictures, they've got people playing dominoes. Do any of you know how to play different versions of dominoes? Have you learned that? I mean, you can unmute and tell me too. There's just 3 of you here.
I kind of know how to play dominoes, but I don't think I was taught the right way.
I know I wasn't taught the right way, but I do think that it's very cool. It's really good for kids learning their math, learning piano too.
Then I would be very bad at that game. I cannot play dominoes and I cannot do math.
All right, well, we're going to learn a little bit about the history of the game. So this boy says, I always thought the dominoes came from Cuba since my grandpa grew up playing dominoes with his friends in Havana. Roberto and Jose, 2 of my grandfather's friends, started arguing because Roberto says that dominoes comes from China, but Jose says they come from France in the 18th century. Roberto thinks that the game of dominoes was created in the 10th century by warriors. And it cut off. For some reason, I didn't get the whole, I don't know why I didn't get the whole story there. You guys know where the dominoes games come from?
No.
Okay, well, we could probably Google it. And you get a Wikipedia when you Google, you can't rely on that too well. Okay, but let's look here. There's actually some rules. It says you need to have at least 2 people, but a maximum of 4. So 2 to 4 people would play the game of dominoes. And you have to shuffle all the dominoes when they're face down, so you can't see the little dots. And then everybody selects 7 dominoes. The person with the highest double plays first. So you see a double would be like, well, let's suppose this was 1 tile, and it was 3 and 3 on both sides. That's a double. Okay, so the highest double would actually get to play first. And says to win, one of the players needs to play all of his or her dominoes. So you have to use up all your tiles in order to win. You count the dots from the dominoes left on the opponent's team, and those points will be added to your score. So it's kind of an interesting game. There are different versions of it though. All right, here's some more words, phrases. Jugar al basketball, to play basketball. Now, basketball is taken from the English basketball, right? In Spain, they would say baloncesto, because cesto is the basket, the hoop, and balón is the ball. Okay, so here they're using the more anglicized. So me gusta jugar al basketball. I like to play basketball. Jugar al béisbol is to play baseball. No me gusta jugar al béisbol. I don't like to play baseball. Do you guys like to play baseball? Have you ever played it? You can unmute.
My mom used to play baseball.
Yeah, I used to play softball in school. They wouldn't let girls play baseball. When I grew up, we had to have the oversized
It might have been baseball.
that
No,
size.
it wasn't baseball.
Uh,
I can't remember what she played. I think she might have played softball.
yeah.
I can't remember. I know it was one of those.
Now we've got another one, jugar al voleibol, to play volleyball. Now volleyball looks like volleyball, doesn't it? Me encanta jugar al voleibol. I love to play volleyball. All right. Jugar al softball. Softball. To play it. No me encanta jugar al softball. Jugar al tenis, to play tennis. ¿Te gusta jugar al tenis? You like to play tennis? All right, we've got some comparisons. So, as I said to you, el basketball is also called el baloncesto internationally. It's also in Argentina, they say el basket, like the basket. Jugar al baseball, to play baseball, is used internationally, but in the Caribbean, some people would say jugar a la pelota, to play ball. Okay. And if you're playing baseball, people might say, hey, let's play ball. You know, so that's where jugar a la pelota would come from. And in the Caribbean, baseball is like, you know, they say that baseball is like the American pastime, right? Well, in the Caribbean, they take it to the next level. And it is huge over there. Okay, the Dominican Republic, we're going to learn about that right now. So we've got this story with, he says, mi nombre es Rudy Alexander. So it's Rudy, and he's spelled a little different. Yo soy dominicano. So he's from the Dominican Republic. Mi pasatiempo favorito es jugar al béisbol. He loves to play baseball. Yo juego al béisbol con mis amigos todos los días después de la escuela. So he plays every day after school. Mi jugador favorito se llama David Ortiz. It's his favorite player. El apodo de David Ortiz is Big Papi. So apodo, remember, is the word for nickname. So his nickname is Big Papi. Yo tengo que practicar mucho para algún día ser como Big Papi. So he's got to practice a lot to be like his favorite player. All right. A muchos de mis amigos les encanta el béisbol porque es un juego especial. Baseball is considered to be America's favorite and original pastime, uniting fans with their love of the sport. Pero el béisbol no solo es popular en los Estados Unidos, sino también en muchos países hispanohablantes. Muchos jugadores de béisbol son, como David Ortiz, Alex Rodriguez y Sammy Sosa, son de países hispanohablantes. So, as I told you before, it is huge in Spanish-speaking countries, especially in the Caribbean. We've got some pictures here. David Ortiz, Big Papi, jugador de béisbol dominicano. So he's from the Dominican Republic. Sammy Sosa, I've heard of him. He's also from the Dominican Republic. And Alex Rodriguez. So he was born in the United States. I'm sorry, he lives in the United States, estadounidense, but he was born in the Dominican Republic. We also have a guy here named Roberto Clemente, jugador de béisbol puertorriqueño, so he's Puerto Rican. All right. Jugar. So remember, jugar means to play a game or sport. So cards to play an instrument. Okay, and then notice it says there's a contraction. Jugar al softball, jugar al tenis. They're using the contraction A plus L to make al. Okay, the two words A plus L make the contraction al, and it just means to play a sport. All right. And some people use jugar a or jugar al. And so here's some examples. Ellos juegan al dominó, they play dominoes. Él juega a la pelota. He plays baseball. And that's when people want to be specific. All right, so here's a little bit about, oops, baseball, pronounced like the English ball, baseball. All right. Yeah, Bolivia, it's still pronounced baseball, similar to the ball in Bolivia. So in Bolivia, they might say baseball. Other places, they might say baseball. There's some more words, sports. El fútbol is soccer. It's not American football. El fútbol es el deporte nacional de Brazil. So soccer is the national sport in Brazil. Brazil, you know, they speak Portuguese, not Spanish. A lot of people get confused about that. Fútbol americano is football, which is going on right now. This is homecoming today. El fútbol americano es mi deporte favorito. American football is my favorite sport. El Club de, it's the club of. The club of. El Club de Golf is grande y limpio. The golf club, or the club of golf, is big and clean. El equipo, team. By the way, equipo is it's a collaborative, never mind. The equipo stands for a group of people, okay? It is not just, even though it's used singularly. El equipo de hockey es muy bueno. The hockey team is very good. Sorry. And then we've got el partido is a match or a game. El partido de fútbol es muy interesante. So the game of football or soccer, excuse me, is more interesting. Very interesting. All right, now they've given you hints here according to the picture of what is going on. Okay, so and we're getting close to the end, so don't worry. Yo juego en el blank golf todos los fines de semana. So would it be partido de, equipo de, partido de, or club de? Think about what we learned when we were looking at golf before. Yes, a club de golf. So a golf club. You know, we might say you go to the golf resort or whatever, but there are certain schools that have golf clubs and teams. So it's something to keep in mind. El blank de hockey juega un partido interesante. Jugar, equipo, partido, juego. What would work here? There's only one. It's actually, well, let's see, Addison or Jamie, you want to give it a whirl here? Okay, it's el equipo, the team, the hockey team. Los chicos juegan al blank con mucha pasión. Fútbol, voleibol, béisbol, basketball, okay, fútbol, soccer. En el blank de tenis hay mucha gente. En el blank de tenis hay mucha gente. Well, 4 is patio, like the back patio. So what else would work instead? So the word you want is partido. It's like a tennis match. El equipo de blank es muy bueno. Which one of these will work? You guys should be all able to get this one. Yeah, fútbol americano, right? All right, we're gonna look at this briefly. We're not gonna do all of these, but we have a couple of things like cognates, golf, and golf is a cognate. It's actually borrowed word from English. Football, soccer, is also sometimes called el balompié. That's soccer, sometimes el balompié instead of a football. Very rarely though. Okay, we're gonna pick a few things. Let's look at this first one here. Yo blank dormir 8 horas en las noches. Is it puedo, duermo, tengo, or luego? What would come before dormir? A, B, C, or D? All right, Melody's doing all the work here. Addison and Jamie, I want to see you guys participating.
I'm just kind of guessing at this point. I'm not entirely sure.
It would be A, it would be puedo. I can sleep 8 hours a night. Okay. Okay, now here we've got we can a picture of 2 boys ice skating. I'm gonna select the best answer. A ellos les encanta. And is it A, B, C, or D? A, B, C, or D? It's a picture of 2 boys ice skating. Okay, well, who put D? Patinar sobre hielo. Yes, a Melody, I think that would be right. Okay. Addison and Jamie, I need to see you guys participating. You can either unmute and say answers, or you can type in the chat box. Okay, hockey equipment, that's a picture of that, okay?
D.
Which one?
D.
D?
Yes.
Well, but partido's at the
Oh.
end of the sentence, so we can't use partido again.
Oh, it's number C, isn't it?
It's C, right, el equipo,
Yeah.
right? All right, we're just gonna move to the next slide or 2. Okay, now we're gonna go over stem changing verbs. This is important for you guys to get. I don't want to keep you too much longer. Okay. Jugar is a stem changing verb. That's where J-U-G is the stem and A-R is the ending, right? Okay, so the letter U in jugar is going to change. So here's the example of jugar. They're often called boot verbs. These are tennis shoe verbs here. High tops. Okay, but the U in jugar becomes UE for yo, to, and el, and then ellos, ellas, ustedes. But it stays as you for nosotros and vosotros. So we've got yo juego, tú juegas, él juega, and then nosotros jugamos, vosotros jugáis, and then ellos, ellas, or ustedes juegan. Dormir does the same thing, except dormir has an O, and the O becomes UE. So we've got yo duermo, tú duermes, él duerme, nosotros dormimos, vosotros dormís, ellos. Stem change occurs in all, well, in 4 of the 6 forms of conjugations. Only nosotros and vosotros, never ever stem change for stem changing verbs, no matter what the stem changing verb is. Okay, but you do need to remember that the U in jugar becomes UE, and the O in dormir becomes O or UE as well. Okay, here's another look at it. All right, and they're pretty much sticking with these 2 verbs just to make it a little easier on you guys. Okay, so mi abuelo juega al golf. My grandfather plays golf. El bebé duerme mucho. The baby sleeps a lot. So we're using those stem changing verbs. Okay, so dormir, O becomes UE. It's the same kind of thing we did before. Here's some other stem changing verbs where O or U becomes UE. You got jugar. Tú juegas a la pelota después de la escuela. You play ball after school. Oops, the baseball. Ay. Poder. Ella puede ser doctora si ella quiere. She can be a doctor if she wants. Ellas duermen hasta la tarde. They sleep until the afternoon. Contar is to count. Yo cuento el dinero. I count the money. Almorzar is to eat lunch. Ustedes almuerzan en la escuela. You guys eat lunch at school. So we got to the end of the lesson, but I want you guys to make sure that you've really gone over these 10 changing verbs. You may have to go back over this on your own. There's just a quiz for 2.2, nothing to write, nothing to record, but you want to do your very best on it. And most people do well on these 2 quizzes, but you guys are going to do great because you were here. If you have not done a collaboration, you can do it. You can say that you attended this live lesson for 2.00 for 2.02 in the Colaboración de Segmento Uno. And you can write what you learned, what did you enjoy, and then just submit it. I'm going to take another picture because we have a lot of people who didn't stick for the whole time. And some people who weren't here all. Okay. You guys have any questions? You can unmute if you have questions or. Okay. Yes?
I do have a question, but it can wait until after the other people have asked their questions.
Okay, sure. Addison and Jamie, do you guys have questions? If you don't, you can exit. Jamie, do you have questions? Okay. Go for it, Melody.
Okay, so the question I had was, whenever I had finished the, can't remember what assignment it was, but to take the exam, you said I needed a password. You never sent me the password, and you failed the exam.
Okay, well, if it was at 1.10,
Yes, I
have a
believe
0
so.
on it.
Yes.
Okay, so shoot me an email or a text right after this and say, hey, I need the password for 1.10. I need you to reset the test. Okay. And then I can
Okay.
reset it and send you the password, and I'll do that in just a couple minutes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, everybody has their own distinct password. Nobody has.
Oh,
Yeah, years ago, I used to do one password for each exam, and then last year I had someone go in and somehow get the password without me giving it to her. So I randomized the passwords.
well.
Yeah.
Goodness. Okay, I'll do that.
All right, very good. I'll see you guys. You have a good
Later.
day. All right. Bye-bye. Aspen and Bria, I didn't see you log in to the Zoom session today.